Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the betting show for UFC Fight Night 200, Jack Hermansson versus Sean Strickland. We're going to talk about the main event. I've got a nice plus money prop there that I'm going to be talking about and breaking it down, as well as we are going to be talking fade of the card, and one that I think some of you guys may be tilting one way or the other way, but we're going to break that all down for you today. We're coming off a profitable evening 2 weeks ago. We did have Francis Ngannou as our 4% best bet play. That cashed in at plus 130. A nice performance from him there. I mean, now we're finding out all of these other things that went on in that before the fight, where he had, torn ligaments in his knee, and then there was some kind of texts about him being sued and getting a text just as he's going to the event. So a lot of crazy things happen. It just shows how really special Francis Ngannou is, and just the evolving of what he's become, and how he really is the man and the baddest man on the planet. So he goes out there and gets us the cash in right there at UFC 270. And I'm actually going to be trying to make the show a little bit quicker. Today is my birthday. I'm looking to go out, have some fun, enjoy myself. Yes, this past weekend, I was in Atlantic City for a couple nights, and then a week from today, I'll be in Punta Cana for a week. So I'm excited. I got some fun things going on. I'm definitely going to be, posting a lot of stuff, videos and that kind of stuff out in Punta Cana. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's at Kyle Anthony UFC. You can check some stuff out over there. And right now, I do have my client play package that's up. I've got 3 plays up right now. And I'm looking at a 4th one right now that I actually am kind of seeing where the line kind of moves there. But right now I've got 3 plays, some nice plus money plays in there as well. So really excited to talk about this. We've got now the main event, and let's dive into it here. We've got Jack Hermansson versus Sean Strickland here. Now you've got Sean Strickland, looks like he's about a minus 225. And you've got coming back on Hermansson is plus 180. So Strickland minus 225. Hermansson plus 180. So what we do is we always do on the show is we break down 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other fighter, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So today we're first going to jump in on Jack Hermansson plus 180. First thing we're going to talk about here, 3 fights ago, he fought Kelvin Gastelum. Now this was a fight here where really, Gastelum has really kind of had a bumpy road. After the Bisping knockout, he just really is not settled in. He's smaller for the division there, but he does have the power. And this was just a kind of an awkward fight for Gastelum, to be honest with you here. That he kind of went up there, and right away you did see that a quick push forward from Hermansson. Hermansson was trying to quickly look for the takedowns, but then you did see that Kelvin kind of started to push forward a little, kind of start to land some shots, but a little bit of moving back and forth. The crazy part of this is really when Jack went for that first takedown. And that's really going to be his path. Obviously, it's going to be a path for him on Saturday night as well. Ground and pound, grappling, looking to really kind of, find the submission. He went for a takedown, and really brilliantly, you saw Kelvin Gastelum kind of reverse it and actually put Jack Hermansson on his back on that first takedown attempt, which is very telling, but also it was a great move by Gastelum. But the weird part of this fight was that Gastelum was on top, kind of landed a couple shots, and you did see, Hermansson's trying to, get a heel hook. He's trying to, find the submission a little bit. But for some reason, when Gastelum got up and was cleared and could have easily backpedaled, he dove right back into the guard of Hermansson, that's where Hermansson wants to be. Hermansson does not have good takedown success rate, very low, and now you get back into his guard where it's really where he wants to be, whether he's on his back or on top. He loves to be on the ground. He really excels in those situations, and right there you did see that, Gastelum tried to get back up again a second time, grabs the leg, gets a heel hook, gets the finish, and Hermansson gets the victory. A weird fight, a very quick one. I think it was within the first minute, but Hermansson goes out there and gets the victory. 2 fights ago, he fought Marvin Vettori. Now, this was a fight here that was really interesting because I really give a lot of respect for just the overall grappling ability of Vettori. And now Vettori's known for this kind of goofy, wacky guy where, some of the dumb things he says, and he just kind of, he kind of seems like he's not all there sometimes. But he goes out there and he really showed his grappling ability, his wrestling ability, his scrambling ability, his takedown defense. He really fought very well in a 5-round really hard fight. And this was one here where early Jack was, again, same kind of thing, looking to pressure, looking to cut the distance, looking to get the takedowns. And as he was pressuring forward and that's really been his thing. Even against Castañeda, you saw, Hermansson just push forward and look for these takedowns. And sometimes that gets him in trouble because he's just looking to level change and guys are starting to throw shots at his head. So there's been opportunities where guys have found opportunities to counter against him. But right away, that's what happened in the situation here. Vettori landed a shot, dropped Hermansson, got on top of him, found success there for the round, and really the first 2 to 3 rounds were pretty much all Vettori really just level chain, defending, finding opportunities. Again, it was just a relentless push for takedowns from Hermansson, but I just was really impressed by spots, even where Hermansson had top control. Vettori, nice reversal, I think it was that second round, nice reversal, found top control, and then it started to look like late third into fourth was going to be where you were going to have Vettori. Maybe he would start to slow down, maybe he wouldn't, but that was when Hermansson kind of started picking it up. But Vettori dug deep and just kept pushing forward, and there was a lot of really sloppy shots. There was really some sloppy takedowns for Hermansson kind of later in the fight, almost a little bit out of desperation where he just couldn't get the fight to the ground, and Vettori was just outworking him, outpacing him. But it definitely showed that Hermansson has cardio and can last. And going through 5 rounds in a very tough fight, which was a really tough fight, high volume, a lot of grappling, a lot of wrestling, a lot of moving around. But he goes out there, he does lose the decision against Marvin Vettori. And then most recently, he fought Edmen Shahbazyan, and boy, has Shahbazyan really not lived up to the hype by any means. I mean, I think he's now 0-3 in his last 3 fights, where he was coming into the UFC or coming into that first losing fight. He was undefeated, a lot of hype, had some big knockouts, and Shahbazyan has a clear issue, and this is why I took Hermansson in this fight, is because really, he just, that first round he can be, Shahbazyan, can be, lethal. He's got some heavy shots, good striking, but once he gets on the ground, he is absolutely lost when he goes to the ground. I mean, it's almost like, you almost can't believe it. It almost like it's when he's got his back to the mat, he looks terrified. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He looks tired. He gasses out extremely, extremely quickly. And a guy like Hermansson can wear on you. And that first round was kind of close, and I think I'd maybe give it to Shahbazyan. But once Hermansson implemented his game plan and implemented the takedown and started using the ground and pound and really imposing his will on Shahbazyan, he broke Shahbazyan in that second round, landed some vicious ground and pound. Third round, more vicious ground and pound. Didn't get the finish, but really just mauled and beat the hell out of Shahbazyan in the second and the third round. So he goes out there, he gets the decision victory over Edmen Shahbazyan. Now on the other side here, we've got Sean Strickland, who's minus 225. 3 fights ago, he fought Brandon Allen. This was an interesting fight here, and the really reason it was interesting is because Brandon Allen didn't look for any takedowns here. He just kind of stood and exchanged. And that is something really where first you've got the plotting style, that plotting, Strickland isn't a guy that's bouncing around. He is just going to walk you down and he's going to force you to fight. He's going to force you in positions where you're going to have to throw hands. He's going to keep it going. Excuse me. He's going to keep it going. He's just going to keep pushing forward, and those are the things that can break a fighter, any fighter, and again, the cardio, the output, and even against Brandon Allen here, he kind of just, he was landing some shots, he looked slick, but he just stood in a phone booth with Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland is absolutely crazy, and he loves the wars, he loves to be the bully, he loves to push forward, he has that pressure, and he went out there and ends up knocking out Brandon Allen in the first round, a nice showing, hurt him a couple times, and then really put it on him at the end of that round and ended up getting the victory. But Brandon Allen looked a little iffy in that spot there, where he just looked out of place, where he just almost couldn't get the space he wanted, and just kind of back up a little bit and just take a breather for a minute and almost reset. And that's something that Strickland does not allow. He just keeps it in your face, and that's what he did there. He goes out there and gets the knockout victory in round 1. 2 fights ago, he fought Krzysztof Jotko, and this is one here where Jotko has a very kind of awkward kind of style, kind of the way that he moves too. He kind of, throws shots from different angles. Not the most crisp, highly technical kind of guy, but he definitely has his own kind of movement, own kind of ways that he kind of gets his offense off. And this was another spot here where it was a 3-round fight where it was just, again, Strickland bullying his opponent throughout the fight. And it was almost like Jocko wanted to kind of bring it to him early and almost wanted to change it. And instead of Strickland being the hammer and his opponent being the nail, it looked like Jocko kind of wanted to be the hammer. He kind of wanted to walk him down. And it is really easier said than done when you look at really what he did, where he really kind of all of a sudden changed the pace, pushes on him, bullied him around. Jocko was, again, the same kind of thing, looking for space, looking for a little bit of opportunity to kind of reset, and Sean will take the shots, move forward, he'll talk trash, he'll kind of, try to get in your head, which also has helped, just some of the outlandish things that he says in the cage, but bullied him, outpaced him, just all over. It was really a good performance by Sean Strickland, where he's not throwing everything with 100% power. He's just really he wants to touch it, just keep landing. Body shot, body shot, leg kick, head shot, and all are just at like a 75% kind of output, or strength, I should say. So it just conserves the cardio, keeps him active, keeps him in the face of the opponent, and that's what he did there against Jocko, pretty much winning every round there, goes out there and gets decision victory. And then against Uriah Hall, we've got, that was the most recent fight. And this is another spot here where you've got Uriah Hall, who really has weapons, who definitely, has power. He definitely has power. I know that a lot of times he hasn't really shown it, but he has the power to kind of go out there and do certain things with guys who are going to allow him to get his kicking game off. And this was a spot here where, if I look, I think it was one kick thrown from Hall within the first round and a half. And really the big reason is because, again, Strickland did the same game plan that he does with everybody, is move forward, get in your face, have you kind of on your back foot the entire time, pressure, keep volume, and you saw that Hall kind of, Hall wanted the space. Again, he's a kickboxer, and the best way to smother someone who's really got a high-level kicking game is smother it, have them on their back foot. They can't get those kicks off as they're backpedaling. That's what Strickland did. He kept it in his face, winning every round. I mean, just the way that he fought here, I thought was, again, another showing of just Strickland has the same game plan. And it's almost like, it's really kind of tough, I think, for guys to be able to say, all right, I'm going to fight this guy in the phone booth also. I'm going to go toe-to-toe. A lot of guys don't want to do that. They don't have the cardio. They don't want to stand and bang with them. And then that's kind of where he's able to kind of break them moving into the fight. And pretty much there, too, although it was an easy decision victory for Sean Strickland, Hall lasted, but Hall had nothing. I mean, it was almost like he had, later in that fight, he really had nothing. The output was low. Everything was kind of low. And it was just all Sean Strickland. He goes out there and wins an easy decision victory. Now, with that being said, obviously you've got on the one side Jack Hermansson. He's got the great ground game. He's got good pace. Great ground and pound as well. He's the kind of guy that can kind of get in your face. He's relentless with the takedowns, and he's gonna submission hunt at any point. He's gonna keep submission hunting whether he's on his back, whether he's on top, wherever he is, even standing. He's looking to kind of latch onto a limb and get you to the ground. And then the other side here, you've got Sean Strickland here, where the heavy pressure style, and we just went through 3 situations here, but it's just absolutely what he does, and he does it really well. And then you back that with the heavy pressure, the high output. You add in also the fact that he's got the good cardio there. You've seen him go 5 rounds where he can go out, keep the output, and not have to kind of take a round off or kind of backpedal a little bit and kind of kind of get himself together and take a breather. And the other part of this, I think that's a big part, is just how unorthodox Sean Strickland is. He is so unorthodox that you can't in sparring you can't mimic it. You can't go out there and have somebody that do Sean Strickland's moves, or it's not that he's this highly creative guy. It's just, again, he's very unorthodox with his shots. The pressure comes forward. What comes out of his mouth, I think it's a little bit something there where he's just a little bit different than a lot of these other fighters. Fights with his hands down sometimes. It's a little bit different and could take an opponent out of their game. And then also the fact that he's got a sneaky high level grappling. A lot of people don't talk about that. A lot of people don't talk about, he's got this grappling. He doesn't, and the one thing is the takedowns may not be there. He may not be the kind of guy who's going to go for those takedowns, but he can freely move forward against these opponents because he's not worried about the takedowns. He's not worried about being taken down. And one is he's not also looking to really get the takedown, but he knows that if the fight goes there, or if he's on the ground, whether he's on the back or whether he's on his back or on top, he is really high level. A lot of people don't really discuss that, and he's very high level when it comes to that. So a lot of guys don't want to go there. A lot of fighters are not looking to get those takedowns because they don't want to be there with him. So it is another layer to his game that you just don't realize. You kind of look at him as this wild, outlandish kind of guy, but he really has a lot of great skill sets. And if I look back, and now if I remember correctly here, I think it's since 2018 that was the last time he lost a round. I mean, he has really been out there. He's looked great. And again, it's really the pressure that has been able to break opponents. Now, if you take a look at the reasons why here, now, obviously, I'm on Sean Strickland here. I think Strickland can go out there. He can really get the job done. But we're going to get off that minus 225 line there. And the way I look at this one here is I like Sean Strickland via decision, plus 190. I think this is a great price, and it's a great spot for him. And the reason that I like this line here is the first biggest thing that I think it could go the distance and that Sean could go out there and get this victory. I think the first thing really here is the clear path to victory for somebody like Hermansson is going to be the grappling, is going to be the takedowns, is going to be working those situations, it's going to be the ground and pound, it's going to be hunting submissions. And you've got a situation here where you've got the takedown success rate of Jack Hermansson is 36% success rate. Extremely low for a guy that really, that's his path. That's where he's going to win fights. That's how he's going to win fights. And now on the other side, you've got Sean Strickland, who is really, really good, high-level takedown defense. He's got an 82% takedown defense rate. So he's the kind of guy that doesn't really get taken down. But somebody like Hermansson will be relentless with it, will be pushing forward, will try to have Strickland up against the fence, will try to push forward there. Where I think that also, these kind of grappling situations and tucking in, I think will also help this fight kind of go a little bit longer. But you added the fact also that, both of these guys have cardio. They both have went, and we just talked about it in the Marvin Vettori fight. That was a war. That was a tough fight, man. They both went out, they battled, they pushed forward, they were throwing, they were grappling, and yet the durability was there for Hermansson, as well as the cardio. And that is something that, there might have been, obviously, in a 25-minute fight, anyone's getting tired in that 4th and 5th round. But the fact he wasn't just empty. He wasn't just, hardly throwing, and, it was a big, really, high-level fight, and it was also a lot of activity. This is where something that I think will help this fight go further. We've got someone like Sean Strickland, who also is a kind of guy that is a durable guy. He's an output kind of guy, but he's also been in these 5-round fights. He's also been there, been active, and he has shown he can go there also. So both of these guys have shown that they have cardio, that they can be durable, that they can put output there, and I think that's what kind of pushes this fight even further down the line, as well as one of the things that I kind of touched on a little bit, but one of the things also that I like about Sean Strickland is the fact that he kind of punches like Nate Diaz, which is, that's not probably the greatest thing to say about him, but really it's that fact that he doesn't throw with 100% power every single time. He doesn't just cock back and fire a big shot and look for even when his opponent is hurt, he's just boom, 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 just 75%, 80% power, boom, 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 and just touching his opponent. And the more he's done that, he can kind of, it's more basically, at least my opinion, I mean, he knocked out Brandon Allen early, but most of it is really this death by accumulation. He's just, the volume's there, he's not looking to get out of his comfort zone, he's staying where he is, landing the shots, and he knows, I'm going to break you over time. I don't have to knock you out early, I can break you over time. And a guy like Hermansson, I think, can take those shots, take those beatings, keep his cardio going, find opportunities to kind of maybe level change or at least keep it in tight once in a while and get a breather, let this kind of fight go a little bit longer here. So I like, as my free play, I do like Sean Strickland via decision, plus 190. It's definitely worth a sprinkle. I think it's definitely a nice price on a guy that I believe goes out there and can win this fight really in impressive fashion over 5 rounds. So the last thing we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about the fade of the card. And the fade of the card is going to be Brandon Allen minus 400. Now, I know. Everybody take it easy. I know. He's fighting Sam Alvey. Now, I know that's bad. I know. Listen, we talked about it on Twitter a little bit with a bunch of you guys. We were kind of, joking around. Are we taking Sam Alvey? That was one of my New Year's resolutions. Do not bet Sam Alvey at any kind of plus money. The guy's on a 6-7 fight losing streak. He's looked bad in certain spots. He's been some tight fights in certain spots as well, but got the loss. But here, the first thing here is this line is wide. This line is really wide. I'm going to kind of go over why, but you've got Allen who's minus 400. That's a wide line here. I don't really put Brandon Allen that high in any kind of fight at this point, unless he's fighting an absolute bum. Is Sam Alvey a bum? I don't know. We'll figure that out. But the biggest reason here is the first thing is this is a kind of fight where Brandon Allen could possibly struggle in it. And now, we've talked a little bit about it. We talked about the fight earlier where Sean Strickland knocked Brandon Allen out early. And I think the big reason of that is really that, Allen is another kind of guy that doesn't want to be, he's willing to kind of stand and exchange. But he's kind of person where, if somebody's getting in his face just throwing punches, if for some reason throws him off. He wants a little bit of grappling in there. He wants some space. He wants a boom, 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 kind of move back. He wants some space. Now, the big issue here is that Sam Alvey has been known to have very low output. Sometimes he could be just, no activity. And that's how he kind of has lost some of these close fights is because, he can land one or two nice shots in a round, and he just doesn't keep going. He kind of just backs up a little bit and kind of allows his opponent to chip away on that round and then win the round. And maybe he had a big moment, or maybe he kind of landed one nice shot, because Sam Alvey does have some heavy hands. He can knock out some opponents where he can at least hurt them as well. But the activity, I think, is what is the only big worrisome part on Sam Alvey's side. But the big thing here also is that Allen in his last fight was against Chris Curtis, and Allen was a minus 340 against Chris Curtis, and this was a spot here where Curtis kind of did the same thing that Sean Strickland did: move forward, throw punches, stay in your face, defend the takedowns, stay in your face. And again, this is another situation where Brandon Allen is pretty much, kind of like Jack Hermansson in a way, where you're talking about takedown opportunities, takedown success rate, and they're both very close in the same spot. You've got Brandon Allen, who's 38% takedown success rate, another low success rate for a guy that wants to be on the ground. And just really hurts his paths where he can't get these guys down. And Chris Curtis, as he's attempting, landed some big shots. Early, I think there was maybe a kind of a takedown, but Curtis got up pretty quickly. And that is the things where I think is, it kind of fits in a little bit more to Sam Alvey, where Sam Alvey can defend some takedowns, and then he's going to look to kind of fire one or two of these big shots. And you add in the fact also that Brandon Allen has been knocked out a couple times, and is his chin iffy? Is he more susceptible to these shots? Because if he is, Alvey could land the big shot, hurt him, and that is something you can definitely kind of see happening when they're going in there. And again, I just think this line's too wide. The big question here is, are we betting Sam Alvey? Now, we can talk about that, on Twitter, at Kyle Anthony UFC, or down in the comment sections on YouTube, whatever it is. I want to know what you guys are going to be taking. But for me here, if anything, it's a sprinkle. Again, I said I would not be betting Sam Alvey at plus money, or pretty much betting Sam Alvey at any point. It's just, for some reason, when Sam Alvey has a plus number next to his name, it almost doesn't matter who the fuck he's fighting. People want to bet him. And again, the only thing here is this is a kind of fight that I could see Brandon Allen losing. And again, minus 400 is just way off to me. Even if Allen goes out there and wins, 3 rounds or whatever it is, it's just way too big of a number. So it is a dog or pass, but for me, it definitely is my fade of the card, Brandon Allen, minus 400. Tread lightly in your parlays if you're going to be adding him. So those are my free plays for UFC Fight Night this Saturday. And if you want to check out my client plays, link down in the description. Again, I've got 3 plays up right now, 3 client plays, and then I'm probably going to be adding a 4th one. So we're going to see. I'll be probably up next day or so. And that's it. I'm going to go enjoy my birthday. I'm looking forward to next week at Punta Cana. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to share with you guys. So that's it. And this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.